if you're watching this, there is a high chance that you are maybe thinking about quitting your job. And I'm here to tell you why you should do that. Or also, maybe why you shouldn't. So get comfy, get a brew on, and sit with me and let's chew the fat about working for yourself. Hi there. She's arrived. Excellent. I didn't record any of that, so that's great. What drove me to leave my job? Why did I agree to do this? Oh my God, I'm doing this. I'll let you in on a little secret. And I'm so excited to be here with everybody who is watching, all of you. I do want to add until the very, very bitter end. Welcome to the chaos. I think I might like this. What fun times we have ahead. I'm gonna getting comfy. Welcome to my first ever YouTube episode. This has taken me a long time to get here, which I'll definitely go into. If you are watching this, thank you so much. I am about to embark on a very huge moment in my life, and I wanted to document it. It is the middle of Feb. You will get this video 100% before the end of February 2025. Mark the calendars. Well, you won't need to mark the calendars because you're already here watching it. I'm Holly, HVB to some. I am so excited to be filming this YouTube episode. I'm so excited to be launching this YouTube channel called How to Build a Brand. I am filming this from my Notting Hill flat. It is a Sunday. I'm going to be releasing these videos every single Sunday. And I'm starting this channel for so many reasons. The most important reason for me really is that in years to come, I am about to embark on a major chapter of my life. I kind of already have embarked on a major chapter of my life, and I really want to document it. I do not want to get to 3-4 years down the line of building what I think is going to be this incredible brand with my business partner and my best friend, and kick myself and regret not filming every aspect of it. And I really hope that you can subscribe, share, take some kind of nugget of information, of joy, of knowledge, of expertise, of learnings from this video. And that is ultimately what I hope that this channel will be. This is my promise to you. I am going to create a channel that shows every single aspect of building a brand. The highs, the lows, the ugly bits, the quite nice bits, the reality of building a brand. And I want to document and I want to share all of it. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of brands you will know and love, share days in the life so that you can actually see the reality of building a brand, not just the highlights reel that you see on social media, which by the time this video goes out, you will know what we are doing, but I'm going to save it for another video. I am a very honest individual when it comes to life. I'm pretty frank and I'm pretty direct. I really think that there is a lot of information out there on social media that paints entrepreneurship, founder-led content in this really glorified light. And quite honestly, that is not the reality of building a brand, of building a business. So for those of you who are watching this and want to know a little bit about me, my career has spanned 12 years, almost 13 years. I have spent the last 5 years working with Caroline Hirons building what is now Skimrock's universe, Skimrock's skincare brand, Skimrock's app, the Caroline Hirons universe, the incredible kits, skincare kits. If any of you are watching this and are familiar with Caroline Hirons, you will know how much of a big deal the Caroline Hirons skincare kits have now become and how huge they were when they launched 6 years ago. So I came in at the very beginning. There was 3 of us and I started working with Caroline. I actually used to be her manager. I was a talent manager before that. And to cut a long story short, I will probably do a whole other video on this and share the story of my career because I think it's really interesting. And I personally love to know people's come ups and careers and how they've got to where they are now. So I'll do a separate video on that. Comment below if you want to see that and if you have any specific questions around that time, because I know a lot of you watching this probably have found me through that part of my life, and I would love to talk about it. I loved my time there. I built so much, I did so much. It was an incredible journey, and it is honestly one of the biggest reasons as to why I am now sitting here in front of you telling this story. So it would be a complete amiss for me not to mention that. And also because I've spent the last 5 years building brands with Caroline. And it's been such an incredible opportunity and such an insight into the uniqueness of building a brand. No brand building is the same. No brand that has got to where it is now has ever been built ultimately in the same way. And I think that's fascinating. As a child, I have been fascinated in entrepreneurship, brand building, what makes successful founders. I've been in founder-led businesses my entire career. Every single company that I've ever worked with has been founder-led, and ultimately has led me to this moment now where I'm sitting down with you guys and starting this channel to celebrate how to build a brand and to show the process, because I've seen it all. I've been obsessed with business since forever. I grew up in quite an entrepreneurial family. My parents had their own business, and I've just always been obsessed with the whole process and what makes success and what makes a successful founder, what makes a successful brand. And the reality is there are so many different ways to skin a cat. I hate that saying, but there are so many different ways to build successful businesses. And I just cannot wait to share my version of that and all of the learnings that I have had so far across my 12 years of working in founder-led businesses. That's why I've wanted to start this channel. And believe me when I say it's been something that has been on my list for a very, 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 very long time. I'll let you in on a little secret. Ooh. About regret. Oh no. I try not to have regrets in life. I think it's really important to acknowledge that obviously things cannot go your way and you can fail at things, and that is absolutely okay. And it happens all the time, especially as a founder. But most definitely in life, if you are not failing, I don't believe you are trying. About 15 years ago, I was really passionate, always have been really passionate about fashion. And about 15 years ago, I'm going to try and dig it out and like share it on here somehow. I think I know where it's hiding. However, we'll see if we can find it on the internet because it has been a long time. It might even have been longer. I think 15, 16 years ago, I started a blog. Way before blogs were anything like they are now. Blogs are definitely having a bit of a revival for sure in 2025, but blogs were really just starting out. It was before social media. Instagram was not a thing. TikTok definitely wasn't a thing. MySpace was a thing, and I think that was about it. So all of the millennials watching this who remember that time, I see you. I also kind of miss that time. MySpace was a vibe, and maybe not so much the like 8 friends that got changed all the time and you felt completely isolated when you were like bumped out the queue, you know? Anywho, honest with you, it was successful. And successful in relation to the opportunities that were presented to bloggers back then. It was when like the Blog Loving Awards existed, and it was successful in the sense that I was working with brands, I did brand partnerships, I had great traction on the blog, and I gave up. I stopped. I was so passionate about it. I loved engaging with the community that I had built on there. And I gave up because I had this little fear, neggy voice in my head. I must have been, to put it into context, I must have been 20 maybe when it was going, 20, 21. I did not have the confidence that I do now. Although if you knew me back then, you might have thought that I did, but that was definitely false confidence. I think we've all been there. And I let the negativity talk me out of carrying it on, telling myself I wasn't big enough, I didn't have a big enough following, other people had more money, they had better clothes than me, I let comparison be the thief of joy. And because of that reason, I gave up. I got into work. I distracted myself with other things. I used excuses, bringing you a little bit closer, felt a bit far away. And so I gave up. And like I said, try not to have too many regrets in life. But quite honestly, that is kind of one of the things that I always think to myself, like, where would I be if I just hadn't let that little inner critic and that inner voice stop me from doing it, because I absolutely loved it. And I don't want to live with that question mark anymore. Life is way too short. There is so much opportunity out there. Putting yourself out there is one of the most liberating things that you can do, and letting your inner negative voice get in the way of that is a waste of everybody's time. So I encourage you, if you're watching this and you relate to that feeling and you're telling yourself that you're too afraid and you are nervous, or you are using excuses as to why you shouldn't do something that you love, then ask yourself how you'll feel in 5 years' time if you still haven't done it. How is that going to make you feel? Because life's moving with or without us anyways, so we might as well go in the direction of things that we love. And if we don't do that, then we're wasting our lives. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. And hopefully you can take something away from this. I'm pretty confident that you will be able to. And if anything, you're just having a gabber with me whilst you scroll TikTok or Instagram. You guys want to know what drove me to leave my job. And as I've said, I spent the last 5 years working alongside Caroline Hirons, and honestly, choosing to leave that job was a huge decision. It took me, I want to say, over a year to come to the decision to finally make the leap, trust myself that I was making the right decision, and to give my notice, which, by the way, was one of the most stressful conversations with Caroline and Alex I have ever had in my entire life. Giving your notice when you want to leave, but you've been there for 5 years, there's loads of emotion involved, is quite a stressful experience. Caroline will attest to that. I bawled my eyes out. It was emotional. It was the end of an era, and it was scary. And no matter what circumstance you're currently in, if you're thinking about leaving your job, I just want you to know that it is completely normal to feel a million different emotions at once. Or you might be so far gone and done with the place that you currently are, and you are ready to take on the world of entrepreneurship, self-employed, working for yourself, and you're like, sayonara, see you later, not going to miss you at all. Both of those feelings are absolutely a-okay. However, if you were like me and it was really emotional and I'm filled with quite a lot of back and forth mentally to get to the decision to give my notice, then that is okay. And it's completely normal. And quite honestly, it's a sign that you are making the right decision. Because if you were nonchalant, off you go, see you later, no F's given, then I would question whether you really cared in the first place. And to be honest with you, you probably should have done it sooner. How did I know it was time to leave my job? So as I said, I have been always really entrepreneurial. I've always thought that at some point in my life, I was going to work for myself. I just never fully knew when that time would be. And for some reason, when I first started working with Caroline, I was convinced that I would be there until the very, very bitter end of the brand. When you have been there since the very beginning and you have been such an integral part in building something that is going on to greatness, to choose to walk away from that is incredibly difficult, especially prematurely when I thought that I would be there, like I said, until the very end, until, I don't know, the brand sold, until the brand could do no more, until Caroline was... I felt like I'd be there until Caroline decided it was no more for her. And if it was no more for her, then it was no more for me. And obviously that was not the case, because Skimrocks is thriving. And I chose to leave at a point that, whilst it felt right for me, the brand is literally on this trajectory of like going up. And I made the decision to leave at the beginning of December. It's now February. I took some time off because I knew that before I jump into the craziness of running businesses and working for yourself, I knew I needed a break. In the last 12 years of my career, I haven't had a break whatsoever. And I knew I wanted a break. So anyway, we went to the Philippines for a month and it was lovely. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen it. And if you follow me on TikTok, you definitely will have seen the Philippines diaries. And if you don't follow me on either, I would strongly recommend that you do. The reason I knew it was time to leave my job, my safe, secure, well-paid, successful career, to take a bet on myself, the reason why I knew it was time was because the uncomfortableness of being in the job felt heavier than the unknown of what was ahead. And if I'm completely honest, I carried that for quite some time. There was this like niggling thought in the back of my head that kind of there was more that I needed to do. I honestly, and I've said this to Caroline, I honestly was watching Caroline build her dream brand and build something that she was incredibly passionate about. I worked in the beauty industry alongside Caroline. Obviously, I mean, name a better person to work in the beauty industry alongside. She is the most influential woman in beauty. And so what an incredible person to learn from. And I've cherished every single moment of my time spent learning from her and from Alex and from the team. However, I was watching her build her dream and it wasn't my dream. And I think it's really important in life to listen to yourself. I trust my instinct really, really strongly. I know myself, and I know that if I had continued down that path of helping Caroline build her dreams, I would always, always, always be sat with the what if. And I also want to say that that what if wasn't there forever. It wasn't obviously there the entire time that I was there. I just think in life we make small steps in a direction that over time those small steps become bigger steps and they have a bigger impact on the direction at which you want to go. And obviously in 5 years, I learned so much about business and so much about growing a brand, so much about retail, so much about product. I don't think I could have learned any more than from where I was at. So for me, it felt like the right time. And I think if you're watching this and you're feeling like you are in that space where deep down, if you're really, really honest with yourself, you know that the time is now. I'm pretty sure we have a mouse in the building somewhere or on the floor and I can hear them squeaking. And I don't know if it's the wind or if it's a mouse. And I don't know if you can hear it, but anyway, it's very distracting. So in that moment, I kind of had one of those like epiphany moments. I had a conversation with a friend of mine and who knows me very well and said sort of, there is so much out there for you following this current experience and this current job that you're in. And I felt like I was compromising myself by staying. And that is not a good place that you want to be. Despite the fact that, like I said, I was so happy there. I was learning and I love the people that I worked with and I miss them. And I knew I was going to miss them and I always will miss them. But they're only down the road so I can come and see them when they least expect it. And it all ended on great terms. And because I respect Caroline and I respect Alex, and I think whenever you leave somewhere, even if in that moment you are frustrated with, I don't know, you have a boss that is driving you up the wall and you kind of just like lose it and you're like, I can't do this anymore because it's been built up over time. That happens. But one piece of advice in business and in your career, which I have always, always followed, is network and relationships are everything. So do not burn bridges because you never know when you will see those people again. And every person in your lived experience has a place. And so it's important for you to respect that. So always, always leave on good terms, and animosity gets us nowhere, is my honest opinion. Did I have any concerns around leaving my job, I am going to be completely frank with you guys right now. The reason why I am able to leave my job and to take a bit of time off and to not put too much pressure on myself as to immediately starting work and bringing in some money is because over the course of the last 5 years, I've been incredibly fortunate that I have been also quite sensible. Well, relatively sensible. My handbags probably wouldn't say so. However, relatively sensible that I've been saving quite a bit of money, which means that because of that financial stability, I am not in a rush. I'm able to take some time off, which I think when you have been so focused on building something and building someone else's dream and following this really passionate career. I'm an incredibly passionate person. I think enthusiasm gets you so far in life, and it's really important to live life with enthusiasm, not just in the workplace. But it was important for me to take some time off, and so having that financial security completely done by myself, I have absolutely no support. I have not had any financial support since I was 18 and I left and I went to uni. I've done everything on my own and I'm incredibly proud of that. And I decided when I left the job that those savings were going to be used to allow me to have the flexibility to have freedom. And I am an incredibly driven person, and I really do believe that having money gives you freedom. And it's different journeys for everybody as to how you can get there. But I think if the option of having that financial security behind me wasn't available, then possibly I would have stayed there for longer and maybe figured things out on the side. But for me, I am an all-in person. I can't really do things by halves. And so I knew that I really couldn't apply and give myself to this brand that we are building if I wasn't able to jump all in. I am an all or nothing person, and that will never change. And so for me, being able to sort of like do half and half, especially when the job with Caroline as commercial director was obviously a really intense, full on job. It wasn't a 9 to 5. God, no. I would live and breathe the brand, weekends, evenings, you name it. I would dedicate everything that I had to it. It wasn't possible for me to kind of do half in, half out. But if that is an option for you, and potentially the situation that you're currently in isn't that demanding and does give you the headspace and the free time to be able to figure what your next move might be whilst taking off the financial pressures, then go for it. Because like I said, financial security is really important, and quite honestly, I have rent to pay. I have an apartment in central London that I have to pay for, and I have given myself a life that, quite honestly, I kind of like the comfortability, the comfort of the life that I have given myself. And so I knew I needed a certain amount of money to be able to do that. Were there any concerns around working for myself? No, not right now. Ask me again in 6 months and maybe I'll feel differently. But the brand that I am building with my business partner and my best friend, I'm so passionate about. And I also think that there are so many different ways to make money. My partner is incredibly entrepreneurial, who's a huge influence on me, which I think really helps. You are the company that you keep. And I think the people that are around you are direct reflections of you. So I've always been inspired to make money. I've always been inspired to be successful. And I think that gone are the days where we have to choose one path and one route in order to be successful. I am launching a wellness, a health supplement brand with my best friend. And that's incredible. And I'm really excited for that. I am launching a consultancy business where I want to work with founders and brands and businesses to understand how to elevate and strategize and help them grow, and also make decisions from the get-go. Consultancy for me is like, I love advising. I've learned so much in business. I'm so passionate about business and I want to work with founders. I love working with founders. It's my favorite thing to do, as you can probably figure out. And we are launching also a Amazon fulfillment brand, which I'm also working on. And I just want to try it all. And I think there's no shade in saying that. I want to try things. I'm probably not going to succeed in everything. But for me, the opportunity to do that for myself was just the biggest driver that got me here and deciding to work for myself. So I have plans, I have options, but I will be honest, there was enough people that I would watch on social media, there was people that I would speak to on the importance of having a plan. I'm going to be honest. I have a loose plan, but I don't have a minute by minute, play by play strategy of how I'm going to get from A to Z in the next 6 months, because I knew that I was going to take the time to figure that out. And if I'm completely honest, I am a really organized person, but I'm not a huge planner. I'm definitely getting better in my older age. I'm 33. 34 in the summer. I'm a summer baby. I am a Cancer for anybody who cares. But I am on the cusp. I am 22nd of July is my birthday, so a day older, and I would be a Leo. Maybe you can see that. I don't know. I was born at 5 p.m. on the 22nd of July, so literally a few hours later and I'd be a Leo. Apparently cusps don't exist. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, that gives you a little bit of an insight into who I am as a person, if you're into astrology. If you're not into astrology, like Caroline, if you're watching this, who doesn't give a flying about that and thinks it's all crap, excuse my language, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, then yeah, it just doesn't give you any insight. But yeah, anyway, that's me. I'm emotional, sensitive, and anyway, I'm not quite sure how we got to this point of the conversation. So if you are watching this and you are thinking about leaving your job, I would suspect that's why you're here. Then the fact that you're even thinking about it and watching YouTube videos on this would suggest that there is some kind of underlying feeling that it might be time to leave your job. However, this is not a decision that I think should be taken lightly, especially if you've been in a place for quite some time. It's a really big decision. And I am a huge believer in the fact that on social media, there is a pandemic. There is a pandemic of what I like to call CEO goggles, a bit like beer goggles, but where you are fed, and it could just be my algorithm, I don't think I'm alone. There is so much entrepreneurial, founder-led content on the internet that glorifies working for yourself. And the reality is that working for yourself, owning a business, is hard. It is tough. You have to have certain qualities, I believe, in order to be successful. Resilience, persistence, a small amount of deliriousness and delusion. Delulu is definitely a quality that successful founders possess, for sure. Taking a complete and utter risk, honestly, leaving my job in some respects felt like jumping off a cliff. Now, if you're wearing a parachute, that's quite fun and entertaining and enjoyable and terrifying for a brief moment until that parachute comes out. However, without a parachute, it's effing terrifying. End of sentence. So I think working for yourself really takes some guts. And if you're watching this and you are thinking about it, all I would say, my advice is take the time to figure it out in your mind. Do not be in a rush. Like I said, if you're in a situation that is quite toxic, if you have a toxic boss, I have been there. I know exactly how it feels like, and all you want to do is run. You also have to make sure the decisions that you're making are right for you in the long run, because it's easier to run than it is to stay. In some situations, it just isn't right to stay, and I totally get that. but you just need to make sure that you're also thinking about the long run and that you are not jumping from the frying pan into the fire. And as long as you have a plan, as long as you have the security, as long as you know that you have potentially something else to go to. Because remember, this isn't necessarily just about how you know to work for yourself. Maybe you just know it's time to leave the current situation that you're in. The decision is never a light one. I would say if you are thinking about working for yourself, for me, the biggest driver of working for myself was the freedom. I'm an only child. I'm a very independent individual, and I've always relied on myself. So, because of that, I was always driven by a want to have the freedom to answer to myself and only myself. And I like pressure. If this all sounds familiar to you, then entrepreneurship is the way to go. I thrive on pressure, and when I am bored or when I am not being challenged, I completely switch off, and it is just not a good place for me to be. The anxiety gets real, the mental torment. I think a lot. And if my mind is not active with really positive things, and I'm not busy and I'm not creating and I'm not doing things that are helping me grow, I get really stagnant. And so for me, the main driver for me to work for myself was that ability to know that pressure and the responsibility of bringing in that money, that salary, that income was going to be on me, and I was going to be the one responsible, because I have complete and utter faith in the fact that I can deliver on that. I do want to add that, like I said, entrepreneurship, working for yourself, is not for everybody. And if you're watching this and you're just inquisitive and you just, I don't know, found yourself on this video, hi, please stay around. I really hope you stay on this journey with me. But if that is you and you are feeling pressurized by what social media tells you is success, some people, not everybody has to own their own business. Not everybody has to work for themselves. The world would not move round if that was the case. And it is absolutely nothing to be ashamed about if that life just isn't for you. My business partner, who I am working on the brand with, Jolie, she always tells me her mother has a quote, and it's always just stayed with me. And it's like, what's wrong? I'm going to get this. I'm not going to get this word for word. It is along the lines of, what's wrong with being ordinary? And I think it's a great saying. I think it is a stark reminder of the fact that not everything everybody does has to be extraordinary. Being content is the goal, no matter which way that looks like for you. And yeah, being content with your life, what your decisions are, how you are choosing to live is the most important thing. And if that isn't there, then take steps in order to find the right path and the right path for contentment, because honestly, that is the only goal, to be content in life. I journal and I've written in my diary for decades. And contentment, not all the time, not every day, might I add. I am not a journal idol. I'm not a model journal girl. So don't get that twisted. But contentment is the goal for me. It always has been. I am a very driven person, and sometimes that can get the better of me, and sometimes I can push myself and put pressure on myself that is just unmanageable. Like, take a breath for a second and relax, and know that as long as you are a kind, I'm digressing now, and God knows how long this video is now going to be. However, being a kind, a genuine, honest, truthful, friendly, loving person, quite honestly, is the goal. So at the end of all this, as long as you have that, the rest will fall into place. But society puts a lot of pressure on ourselves, and entrepreneurship and working for yourself is not for everyone, and that is more than okay. I thought I'd just get a little closer. I might regret getting this close, to be honest, so I'm just going to take it back a notch. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so excited to share this next chapter with you guys. If you are a founder and you have recently taken the plunge, please comment below. I would absolutely love to know how that journey was for you. Any tips, advice for anybody who's thinking about leaving their job to work for themselves, to go work for someone else. I am obsessed with founder stories, and I'm really, really excited to connect with you all and to share this journey with you. I promise it will not be boring, and I'm going to share the realities, the highs, the lows, the ugly bits, the really attractive bits, the funny bits, the fun bits. I'm going to take you along for the entire journey. Please like and subscribe. I would be so grateful if you could like and subscribe watching this video. I'm so grateful for you all. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, and I will see you next Sunday at 4 p.m. Cheers.